Look at this little baby in his cat carrier. He's saying, "Why did she have bull-like glasses? She was 65 years old. Aren't you stop? Aren't you supposed to stop tattooing your face when you're 20? Why did she have? Why did she have thick rimmed? Her hair was. She was 65 years old, and her hair was jet black. You could see the dye all over her forehead, and she had thick framed, colorful glasses, like she was painting her face. Aren't you supposed to stop doing that when you're? She was a veterinarian. She might as well have been wearing a thong into the vet's office, and the first thing she says is, "We're here for our little baby, our little baby Richard, who has fucking fat. Who's why is he sitting in his cage? Who has hard belly, distended kind of pot belly, which they say that can be worms." And so we take him in, and the first thing she starts going on about is you got to get him vaccinated for rabies. Well, he's an indoor cat. Yeah, but he goes out in a tent and blah blah blah. And anyways, we got him some dewormer, which we paid. And really, I would have just went for a blood test, but the blood test won't show if he has worms. So we got him probiotics in case he's constipated. But he goes to the bathroom regularly. I really didn't want to take him to the vet, and then I was like, oh, that's why, And I didn't notice her bull-like glasses until when a non-bull-like wears bull-like glasses. That's a huge red flag. I didn't notice that. I'm not judgmental. But as soon as she starts saying it's the law, you gotta get your cat rabies shotted. It's the law. And I said, well, just call the police. What's the worst you're gonna do? And she said, oh well, we're not gonna call the police. And I said, I'll probably post it because I was vlogging it. I said, is it gonna kill him? Like, the COVID shots. Like, is the point? I didn't say it's the point, but I said, is the rabies shot going to kill him? She said, no, this is not a living virus. And she said, because if he bites you, then you're going to get rabies. And I said, well, how many people have ever died of rabies? She said, oh, I don't know. By that time I was staring at her like you fucking, you. Anyways, she's, the answer, how many people have ever died of rabies? It's like zero. It's like your odds are more so that you'll get struck by lightning like 4 times. That would be gangstalker. Oh no, that's not. That's just creditors. It's funny how you could get angry. It's, oh, they're gangstalkers calling me. I'm so angry. And then afterwards, you're like, oh no, it's just creditors. So I got some good cooking to do. I have, as soon as the vet started saying it's the law and you gotta do this and there's these other shots you gotta get them. I was just like, oh yeah, that's the reason. I completely forgot why I didn't want to take him here. That's the reason. And then we went to this pet store first. The first thing we were going to do is get dewormer and get probiotics. Probiotics help him if he's constipated. And for some reason, I don't know how it got changed, but then it got changed to, let's take him to the vet. We call the vet. They have a spot right away. Literally right when we call, the vet says, you can come in right now. There's just a spot open. So we go in. Our first plan, though, is to get the probiotics and to get the dewormer. And if that doesn't work, then we'll go to the vet to do blood tests. And maybe to bring in fecal sample to see if there's, but then it's hit and miss. Maybe there's something that indicates it, but maybe not. And then so we go in, and she immediately just says, "Oh, you got to get him this and this. And you got to get him these vaccines." And I said, "So you're saying he has rabies?" And she's like, "No, that's just standard protocol." And then I'm like, "So you think he has?" Because she also says, "Give him a dewormer." And I said, "So you think it's worms?" And she says, "No, it's we just tell people to get their cats dewormed anyways if they're outdoor cats." Which he's not an outdoor cat, except he goes out in a tent, but it's not the same. Like, and she kept making the case, like, "Well, if a fox bites him through the tent." It's like, have you ever heard a fucking fox? You can tell when you could tell when a fox is there. Like, she was pushing it so hard, And finally, they're like, "Well, what do you think?" And I'm like, "No, absolutely not." Like, and so I was like, "So it's not anything that you even know what it is. Like, you're not even prescribing dewormer based off of the symptoms. You're just prescribing dewormer just as part of the regular protocol." And so I kind of just would have went first for the blood tests, but we have a month to go back, and we don't have to pay the original fee again, because you have to pay just a fee just to get in the door, which is like $67. So in a month, we won't really have any signs necessarily. If you have worms, if you're a cat, you take a dewormer. We already gave him the pill. It's just 2 pills. That's kind of good. If we got it from the store, it would have been like 14 pills. He might have worms in his crap, but he might not. Even if he does have worms, you might not see any in his crap. So we might not even know if this is working. And then it's going to take like 2 months for him to lose his pot belly, if that's what it is. And I said, when they have a distended pot belly that's really hard, is that literally the worms that are making it so hard? Wouldn't you feel the worms? She said it could be, but it could be something else, that the worms are causing something else. I wanted to say, I just forgot, but what? What else could cause that distended belly? And so if he has to get a blood test, the blood test won't test for worms, it'll test for a bunch of other stuff. We have it here, I could read it off, but kidney failure, there's a whole bunch of things. I got a bunch of groceries, so that was cool. And I didn't get any message. I just checked my bank account. I have $134 left for the rest of this month. And so my mom's expecting me to pay her back for these visits to the veterinarian, and I kind of wasn't expecting that. I kind of just thought she'd say, "Okay, well, here you go." But it's no problem for me either. I mean, I'll just have to pay it back kind of slowly, but I don't mind paying. But I kind of think if it was me, I didn't really know I was going to be paying. I thought maybe I'd be paying half or something. And if it was just me, I probably would have did it different. I probably just would have went straight for the blood test, which is $266. Maybe, or maybe I would have went for, I would have went for the deworming first, try the deworming, see if that works, and then do the blood test. I don't remember. No, I do remember, actually. I asked her, "So do you think it's worms? What % sure are you that it's worms?" And she said, "I don't even know." So I didn't even have any medical, professional opinion on whether or not it's worms. The only reason why I think it's worms is because if you Google what is causing my cat's belly to be hard and kind of a pot belly, the answer will be it's worms. Now, we also discussed maybe he's just fat. Maybe he's just an old fat cat, and he's crotchety, and he's just getting old, so he's temperamental. Well, it was just like the last 4 months about that he started getting fat, and it seemed to happen pretty quickly. It seemed to be pretty all of a sudden. So, I don't know, that's kind of suspicious. Like one day, and he's a super cat. He's no ordinary cat. Look at him. You think he's an ordinary cat? Look, what kind of cat does that? And look here. Look at these damn friggin' terrorist planes flying over our house. Can you see that? Can you hear that? You have to look through the trees. These people are mad sick. These people are human traffickers. Yeah, I know, it looks innocuous. Oh, it's just a plane flying by. Do you know who they represent? It's like saying there's someone stalking you and breaking into your house and raping you, and they walk by your house and they wave hi. Well, it's just someone waving hi. That's all it is. I was so nervous to go in there, for fear partially that the doctors are all bought off. It's one big network, the doctors. It's more than gang stalking. If you study natural hygiene is the understanding that health means cleanliness and sickness means uncleanliness. And if you go further into it than that, it means constipation, basically. You'll say, oh, it's toxins. Well, yes, of course. What are the toxins? The toxins are crap. Crap is very acidic. And you can't digest it because it's cooked. And so you eat raw food, and you eat the species-specific diet, which is fruit. And if you don't do that, then the cell crap comes out other channels, like the lungs, then they call that pneumonia. Or it comes out the skin, then they call that herpes. Or it comes out in some other way, and then they have all these diseases. It comes out as... it manifests as cancer. It doesn't come out. It stays in the body. Cancer is not a disease. It's a symptom. If you call it cancer is cell suffocation. Your cells are suffocating because they're coated in cell crap. The cell crap doesn't digest because it's cooked, because cooked food is sticky. It's sticky because it's dehydrated, so it's a diuretic. When you drink juice, for example, when you eat soup or when you eat just cooked food, it doesn't digest, sticks between your cells, suffocates the cells. When the cells are being suffocated, they have to multiply, they multiply faster than normal, or they die faster than normal when they're being suffocated. And so there's a big conspiracy going on that when you say that, well, cancer is a disease, then the cause of the disease is unknown. And that's the conspiracy. So then we can treat it with chemo, which is microwaving you. Why would microwaving shrink a tumor? Well, because you're cooking the water out of it. If you put a piece of steak in the microwave it for a couple minutes, you're going to cook the water out of it. It's going to weigh less. That's how stupid these people are. They say, oh, look, see, the tumor shrunk. Well, yeah, you just made it more intransient. You made it more hard. You shrunk it because you cooked the water out of it. You basically microwaved someone. And here's the thing. You think you have it bad because you're a TI? You should fucking study health. If you study health, you will realize that this network of cabals, you can find worse horror stories. Oh, my son had cancer. He was so young. They forced him to do chemotherapy. They took out his kidney. Do you know what happens when you take out someone's kidney? They'll fucking, I think they'll, I forget exactly one case, but it's very, 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 very bad to take out someone's kidney. That's like very, very, very bad. And so there's people who die all the time and who have medical torture done on them all the time. If you're a certain age and you get cancer, they force chemo on you. and that's like forcing you to be microwaved. They'll if you don't take the allopathic route, which allopathy is, in a way, it's very scientific, but in another way, it's very run by J.D. Rockefeller, the world's first billionaire, who paid all the medical schools to teach his pharmacology, and then invested in pharmacology, and that's how he made his billions. The world's first billionaire, J.D. Rockefeller. He's the reason why you don't know about water fasting is because of J.D. Rockefeller. And these people having their kids confiscated from them for not going along with the treatments that kill them. And can't argue with these people. And the horror stories that, the medical industry kills so many people. They intubate people to death. It's not just the vaccines that kill people. It's the intubation. Like, think about when you're circumcised. One of the main problems is, besides having 90% of your dick skin removed, or half of it, some people have 90% removed, it's that the mucosal tissue isn't supposed to touch the oxygen, because that's the most corrosive element on Earth, is oxygen. And so when you put an intubator in someone, you kill them. Like, if you're a healthy person, how long do you think you could have an intubator before it kills you? Like, the medical industry, they're all tied together. The medical industry, the entertainment industry, the cops, the shrinks, it's all one big cabal. And so I was scared to take my little baby Richard to this veterinarian, because I'm like, I know how hubristic you are. Even if you're not a gang stalker, I know that you think that I'm a layman, and I think that you're a fucking retard, like you think you're like, oh no, you gotta get the vaccine, and I'm like, you would with your bull dyke glasses and your hair dye over your face, you would claw people, you would fucking grind up living cats if that's what someone with a badge told you to do. You say, okay, I'll grind them now. I'll grind them all. I get the social credit score points, right? I get Dr. J.D. Rockefeller. He's going to tell me that I'm accredited, right? Like, I get to keep my veterinarian license. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. Anyone who says otherwise is unscientific. Remember, I do have the credentials here. Like, fuck, And you go to the doctor and they're gang stalking you. Like your own doctor's gang stalking you, like giving you antipsychotic medication when they know that you don't need it. Like we of all people, we of all people know. But there's a lot of we as in targeted individuals, we know the bullshit. We know how deep the bullshit goes. But in the natural hygiene community, we also know. We're like, and there's lots of people in the natural hygiene community who are targeted. I know personally one person who's definitely targeted, and these are well-known people, who's in the eat fruit, vaccines are bad, those kind of people. And for all I know, that's the reason why I'm targeted too, but I don't think so. But I can't remember, but anyways, I know one guy who's targeted. His name is Raw Vibrant Rejuvenation on YouTube. And then there's another guy, Vegetable Police on YouTube. I don't know if he's targeted. I suspect he is. Then there's another guy who I don't know if he's targeted, but I suspect he is, Lauren Lockman. And then there's another guy who might be targeted, Dr. Robert Morse. And he got pretty much kicked off YouTube. And it kind of overlaps. Like, are they targeted? Lauren Lockman, he got in a car. His brakes gave out one time. Lauren Lockman he's a pretty well-known person who's very smart. He's a genius. He's like a really high IQ genius. And he can explain things in very simple language. Like, he can reach a lot of people. Like, he doesn't explain it so that you don't understand it and you just defer to him. Like, well, he's a genius, so he gets it, so it must be true. He explains these things in very simple terms. And he's clearly very smart. I never wondered if he's a genius, but when someone asked him about that, someone asked him on live stream how high his IQ is, and then he went into it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised. I was kind of surprised because his skull is a little bit small, but I could think of plenty of people with a huge skull who are total idiots. So, so I got these canned tomatoes. These are the best tomatoes, basically. These are called mutty. These are so good. I'll never buy tomato sauce again now that I've had those. And then I got these ketchup chips. It was $4 for a bag of regular Lay's. I'm not going to pay that. So I got these for $1.49. These are not that good. But I'm not paying fucking $4. What are you doing in there, Richard? You're very slick boy. Okay, so basically I just did the dishes. I kind of want to... What do I want to do? Kind of want to do some cooking. Let's get the camera up here. Cool thing about having eyelid tape is I have no bad angles anymore. Now it's all about posture, and this would be good posture. I rarely have good posture. Let's see what kind of noodles we have. I am doing pretty good for money. Let's see. Okay, we got some classic noodles. Kind of wish they were thinner, but whatever. Maybe they are good. Classical. Yeah, these are good. These will do. And then I got some Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat Impossible. Check this out. This is like the best, the premium. Put that in the sink to thaw. Okay, and I almost don't want to eat. I haven't eaten all day. You know how it makes you high if you don't eat for a little while? That's kind of how I'm feeling. Richard of a Zinc! But fuck you, big boy! But fuck for you! I would never say fuck you to him, but I say very, very fuck you. Kind of like there's a language barrier. Like, I must be meaning to say something else, because I wouldn't want him to think that I'm saying fuck you. So I say very fuck for you, or very fuck you. Okay, so we got the... Oh, you know what? We also have vegetable stock, which I normally don't eat because we have it from Costco. And, we have... I just got oil from Costco. No, from Walmart. And then my mom went out for... Look at this. My mom went out for dinner with the girls. And one of them said, oh, look, I just went to Costco and got too much canola oil. So do you guys need some canola oil? And I was like, I just bought canola oil. And my mom was like, well, are you worried to not use this canola oil? And I was like, well, I am now that I think about it. I thought it was just a gesture. But maybe it's to show that the oil has been poisoned, tampered or something. I would really, if my mom is targeted, I don't think she'll ever know. Most people who are targeted never know. And I have a feeling that once you know, then they amp it up a lot more. Like, that's how it worked with me. Like, I could say I've been targeted at least for 10 years. And once I realized, then they took it to like level 50. And so, because my mom will never know, I actually think, I actually almost pity her. Or no, no, sorry, I don't pity her. I pity myself. I think it's what a better life that she has that she doesn't know. And I actually wish, I kind of wish, maybe this is not true, but I kind of wish that I didn't know either, except for the fact that I would figure it out again. My mom doesn't, she doesn't believe that the 2019 mass murder was a mass murder. She thinks that was just, she doesn't, she doesn't believe that there was a goal to depopulate through vaccines. And I don't think, in order to not know, in order to not understand what's going on, I don't think I'd want to, the implications of that would be so much. It's like saying I wouldn't be me. I am the type of person who notices. I am an observant person, That's something about my personality. I knew that COVID was bullshit from the very first moment. Before I ever heard the word COVID, I was volunteering at this office, and this woman comes in, and she says, we're not booking you in for next week. We gotta close down. There's some virus, or something like that, some virus. She said, don't worry, it'll be over in a couple weeks. And I looked at her and I said, really? I could just tell, I was like, I can already tell that this is complete and utter bullshit. So you really think it's going to be just a couple weeks? I already know they're lying. And then there's this guy who comes in, and I say, I'm sorry, but I can't let you in right now. First, I have to direct you over to that woman over there, and she's going to ask you if you've been out of the country lately, and if you've been sick lately. And if the answers are no, then you're allowed to come in. And the guy was kind of shocked at first. He looked kind of offended when I first said that, but once I told him what the criterion was, he's like, oh, it's okay, I got it. I know the answers are no, so I'm fine. And I felt really like I went along with it. Like, did that just make me a Nazi to do that? Far after. Then this other woman, she's like not wearing a mask or something, and she's getting kicked out, and she's saying, you people are fucking nuts. And in my head, and one of the gang stalking employees there, he's saying, well, we're just trying to keep everyone safe. And I'm thinking, but I'm too cowardly to say it. I'm thinking, I agree with this woman, actually. I wanted to say, well, we put the mental in fundamentalist, but we also put the fun in fundamentalist too. So, we'll at least kick you out while singing a tune and dancing. It was a sad time. Sad time for humanity. And then there's this one guy. I went to this boot camp with this company called Real Social Dynamics. There's this guy, Owen Cook, Tyler Durton is his screen name. He's pretty famous. Probably if you're a guy and you're in your 20s or 30s, probably you'll know who he is. Okay, so we got some vegetable bouillon here. This is $4. Should be $1.50, but it's organic. I'm gonna put a whole vegetable bouillon in. And so I did a boot camp with him, and that's like where he teaches you how to meet women. Like he's like, go approach that woman, go tell her that, go kiss that woman. So I went to Chicago to meet him, and I also wanted to see him because he's like a pickup artist, and he's like one of the best in the world, and he really was. Like it was actually pretty crazy to watch. Like, um, like we're walking down the street, and there's this black woman with a white guy, and he says to her, "Oh, you think you can just ignore me because Obama won?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Everything ever since Obama won, you could just fucking ignore me." And she's like, "What?" And then this this huge security guard comes and like bum rushes him, and he's like, "Don't touch me!" Like he yells it. I was like, "Whoa!" Like that's crazy. And especially because in the bar, like he got kind of like, guys were kind of handsy with him. Like at one point, he's like, "Back me up. Like if I'm gonna go approach this girl with all these guys, like there's like some guy is gonna get really aggressive with me. Like just be here just for presence." And like one guy threatened to kill me. And he's like, that kind of stuff happens all the time. Like a guy might slap you in the face or something, or just kind of in play, like not really literally hardly slapping you hard, but like, um, just kind of like tapping you on the cheek to show dominance. And he's like, that kind of stuff happens all the time. And he diffused it. This guy's like, "That's my fucking what?" And Tyler's like, "Well, you had to meet her too. Like how did you know she was single when you first met her? Like I didn't know she was with you. How you also had to meet her at some point, you know?" So like, and the guy's like, "Oh, okay." Like Tyler, he really had that. Like he's persuasive. And then so we're outside, and this black girl, she's it's like she suddenly gets it. Like she's laughing. She's like on his side, and the guy who she's with, he gets in the cab, and he's just waiting in the cab, and the security guard is this huge guy, and he's standing over him like saying, "You can't say that kind of shit." And Tyler's like to the girl, he's like, tell this guy that it's just a joke. Tell him we're friends. And so she does, and then it gets diffused. And then we go to this other bar, and there's these like real, and Tyler's like short, and he's like bald, um, and so and there's this like really hot girl with these guys who are like total chads, and she's like in the middle of them, like a group of like seven guys and one girl, and they're like, they look rich, they look successful, they look like they go to the gym, like they might even do steroids, but not excessively, like some kind of weird freak. And he walks like, "Excuse me," fellas, like he goes between them, and he just holds his hand out for this girl, and they're all laughing like, "Whoa, this is fucking retard, like this guy's a fucking retard." And she like indulges him, and then she talks to him, and then he pulls her away from them, and she instantly realizes this guy is more successful than these guys, or whatever she realized, I don't know, but she's instantly more interested in him within about 30 seconds or a minute. It goes from her and them laughing at him and her indulging him as a sort of joke, like, let's see what this idiot has, to him actually literally walking away with her to a different table where they all follow, and then they're all trying to talk to him too, like talking to him about business and trying to network with him. And so there's like 3 people per boot camp, and I'm on the boot camp with this one guy who's very simple, kind of like a Mennonite. Tyler's like, "How many girls have you had sex with?" And he's like, "I don't know, like 1 or 2." And he's like, "Okay, if it's 1 or 2, you would definitely know whether it's 1 or 2. So is it 1 or is it 2? And he's like, well, it's 1." And he's like really simple. And then there's this other little tiny Indian guy. This guy was hilarious. He was, well, he wasn't like a funny comedian or something, but he was very endearing. And so we're at the bar with it's the Indian's turn to go approach this girl with a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of guys, and the girl is actually liking this little Indian guy. And I don't mean to be condescending towards him. I don't mean to say they're actually liking him. And, but I mean, this guy was pretty shocked. And I wasn't shocked because I saw, Tyler's kind of short. And, I don't think the fact that he's Indian makes him less attractive. Like I've seen a perfect 10 Indian. And, I don't think it matters your race. I think it matters how hot you are. Anyways, so this girl's liking him. And the guys who she's with are basically like threatening him. They're, he's actually succeeding. And the guys that she's with are actually literally in the name of defending her. They're actually threatening him to get away. And they're probably racist. They're probably heightist. They're probably like, this guy's a short little Indian. There's no way that a skinny little 100-pound, and there's no way that she actually likes him, but she did. And Tyler was like, you guys are such pieces of shit. Like you're actually doing a disservice for your friend. Like you think you're doing a disservice for your friend, but you guys are actually the cliche of white knights, and you're actually just trying to fuck her. And that's really what's happening. And you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. And then there's this girl who was exactly my type. Like I like centaurs, like lower body huge, upper body petite. And there's this girl on her phone, and I go up to her and I just start talking to her while she's on her phone. And she's like, she's like laughing. She's like, I have to call you back to whoever she's talking to. And we get in a cab to go back to my place, which is like an hour away. And, and finally when it's like taking too long, like, I'm like, we got to actually go to the train station. And then we have to, we have to take the cab to the train station. Then we have to take the train. And it was like too much, but I pretty much had her. And, I should have went in an alley or something. I didn't think of it at the time, but she was like exactly my type. It was, and I felt it too before I talked to her. Like Tyler said, he could tell whether someone's going to succeed or not just by their presence before they do the approach. And I knew exactly what he meant, because before I approached that girl, I was like, I'm in the zone right now. Like I can feel that I have the power. And so now it's going to work. And then because I was so far away, like I had to take the train, like the subway to get there, in a bus. Like I was like, I'm like walking like at 4 a.m, like down in Chicago streets. And there's this guy who's like, hey, you got a quarter? And like I literally start running away. I'm like, no, I don't have your currency. I'm Canadian. And I literally like just start running away. And there's this guy at the subway station. And he's like, don't go down any of these streets. Like if you walk down any of these streets, there's going to be someone who challenges you. And I also saw, that was one of the ways where I learned about thickness. Like centaur girls, like I was on the bus and I saw these like thick black girls, like really thick, especially centaur kind of thick. And I was like, oh, these are like hood chicks. Like I would really, I was really, I don't know, trying to keep this politically correct. I was really happy to see them. I was very interested. And, it was pretty fun. But the reason I bring up Tyler is because when the 2019 massacres were happening, he has a pretty wide reach. Like he has like millions of people follow him and watch him. And he was saying, you all are fucked for letting this happen. This is fucked. Like he wasn't browbeating people, but he was saying this should not be allowed to happen. Like, and he's saying, he's one of the first people, here's an ambulance outside, one of the first people to say, now admittedly that is an old folks home, but they all, I am stalked by ambulances on the regular too. Now I could make some more juice. I don't exactly know what I want. I do have the best tomato sauce. I would like it. We have a spice mix that we normally make, but there's none of that left. And I'm almost thinking I shouldn't even eat. I feel so good right now. I'm past the point. Once you do a water fast, you get to a certain point and you're no longer hungry. And I've incidentally been water fasting today. I don't really watch Tyler anymore. I don't. I don't know. Uh, he is pretty cool, a pretty funny guy, and I really liked that he said, this should not be allowed to happen. What's 2019? He didn't. He's like, I can't say it, but you know what it is. And he also said some other stuff too, which is like, he said if you are kind of judgmental of girls and you have sex with them, but you're kind of judgmental of them, what is she gonna do? And he's like, I'm not gonna say it, but what's gonna happen if you have sex with a whole bunch of girls and you don't I forget exactly what it was. Like she if you just kind of if you don't really like respect them, if you kind of judge them or look down on them, what's she gonna do? I'm not gonna say it, but what is she gonna do? Eventually, if you sleep with a whole bunch of girls, what's gonna happen? And someone yells it out of the audience, rape charge. And he says, I didn't say it. But just to hear someone say that, it's like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That should be said. Okay, so and I like too when he was talking about COVID, he's like, I can't say what it is. The thing that's happening right now, it shouldn't be happening. I can't say what it is, remember. But you know what it is. YouTube is the most heavily moderated site on earth. But yet you all know what it is. Just the fact that because I think you have to be kind of a jerk to be famous. Not that being famous makes you a jerk, but that if you're not a jerk, you're not even allowed to be famous. They don't have to tell you what to say. If you're on the news, you're a news reporter giving your opinion piece, you're Russell Brand or something, they don't have to tell you. Now, a lot of people say Russell Brand was blackmailed. They say there's some kind of dirt on him, and that's why he doesn't say anything about the genocide in Gaza. He doesn't say that Israel attacked itself to justify a genocide on Gaza. He doesn't say that Hamas and Israel are the same people. And the reason why he doesn't say that, even though he's obviously aware of it, is because he's been blackmailed. But in general, you don't have to tell people what to say. Like supposing Russell Brand wasn't blackmailed, you wouldn't have to tell him what to say because the only people who are allowed to be famous are the ones who are going to say what you want them to say anyways. So when like Rachel Maddow, she says, I don't have a script. It's like she doesn't need one. She's only hired because she already has the viewpoints that the script already says. These chips are great. Oh yeah. Woo! Oh, that gets me cranked up. Gets me real cranked up. Oh yeah, I'm cranked up right now. Oh, I'm getting real cranked up. I think I gotta dance. I'm getting real cranked up. Getting all cranked up over here. I'm not even high on acid either. He was coming home late, and he's coming home late, and he's bringing me a surprise. And dinner's in the kitchen, and it's packed on nice. Waited for a long day while. Right on my gun, turn the quick, pull trigger, wheezing with my cigarette. You say your hair's on fire, must have lost your wits. You're the other kids with up kids, better run, faster than my gun. All the other kids, pumped up kicks, better run, faster than my bullet. Ooh. Okay, I hope these noodles are finished. Yep.